My friends, could it be that the divine whispers that we have all been hearing for a long, long time, could it be that that is simply an invitation to take a certain kind of action in the world? Could it be that these divine whispers are actually real, that they are here to guide us into the next step, the next unfolding, the next evolutionary unfolding? And those of us who are hearing them and paying attention to them, could it be that we are the ones that we have been waiting for? Could it really be that I am the one that I have been waiting for? Can I be this bold and just say, I am the one that I've been waiting for? And for some reason, I have been ignoring it, resisting it, turning away from it, coming up with all kinds of excuses why it's not me, and then kind of sink back into my life, into our lives of maybe compromise or hiding, not following these whispers. Are you hearing whispers? Some people hear them as the still small voice, which you may have heard of before, and they really hear them as a clear sound or voice inside, not outside. Although for some they say it sounds like it's outside, but it's actually not. I have not been one of those. I've had some times where that was the case. For me, the whispers come more as a feeling, kind of an impulse, a movement. It's like a wave coming and moving in this direction. So I have learned to uh, learn the language of these whispers in my case. And you probably have your own way of connecting with these whispers or these waves. And then, of course, the challenge for so many of us is to realize that this is real. It may not be visible in this world, it may not be audible in this world, but it is still here. It is here as a something. Let's just call it a something. And then you can fill in the words that how that something is for you. I know that Joe Goldsmith, that I have talked about a lot because he was kind of the ground of my spiritual awakening. He definitely heard the still small voice, like he called it the thunder of silence. That's how roaring this voice was for him. And but not always. There's times where he just felt as if he would go within, he would just feel it as a deep sigh or a click, like something goes, oh yes, it's like, oh, it kind of gets your attention and it helps you drop down deeper in a sense of peace or presence or just knowing. So these divine whispers, they can show up in many ways. And it's up to us to learn to know, or to get to know the language of our soul's whispers. So these whispers have been coming to so many of us. And it's so interesting the more that I talk about this subject, about the light workers, I'm actually realizing that, I mean, I can't say that everybody is a light worker because I don't know that, but I'm realizing that most people that I know are light workers, even if they don't know it yet, because there is something here. They're learning that there is something else going on. And as soon as we turn inside and connect with that something, we can become the outlet for it. That's when we become vessels for these divine whispers to express themselves. And what is it going to look like? Again, it's going to look different for each one of us. I think something that probably makes a difference or how we experience it is if we do some work on maybe astrology or personality type. One that really resonates with me for a long time is the human design and the gene key codes. That's where I found a lot of resonance in like, oh. So I'm not somebody who's out there, changing the world and building things and creating things and attracting a million people. That's not really in my cards or even in my palm. But what is in there is the essence, bringing the essence out. Took me many years to actually trust that because I was so focused on doing something in the outside world and I wasn't very successful. And then when I learned some, deeper aspects of myself in the designs of this expression, then I could start resting back more and letting it have me. Because for me, it is all about being in the flow. And if you have listened to me on this channel, you'll notice that I talk a lot about that because it's just so real and alive for me. I couldn't talk about, creating something huge in the world. I wouldn't even know where to find that flow inside because it's not there. My flow, my whispers, have this direction and these qualities and this expression. So that's why we can't compare ourselves with anybody. There might be people say, you just need to do this, but that's not true. That's true for them. That's not true for you necessarily, unless you feel this inner go like, yes, right? Then you are connected to what this other person said and you resonate with that. If you don't get that, then, keep checking out and see what resonates with you, how it expresses, how as to how the whispers express themselves. Because when you get in contact and in touch with the inner whisper, with the inner flow, you will naturally start recognizing it out there. And then you'll know like, oh, this is my tribe. I totally jive with them. And then it's because it's true. If you would not do that and go with somebody who's totally different than you are, then you wouldn't feel aligned and you would not be following your own flow. So these divine whispers, are you listening to them? And what are you doing with them? Not in the sense of actively doing, but how are you responding to them? Are you making yourself available to them? Are you going inside and going like, yeah, I see. Yeah. And then when there's a click or deep breath of like recognition, then you really just need to make yourself available for that. And then it's a matter of trusting it. Even though you run into barriers, and you will, for most likely you will, we all do. Again, when we start expanding, we naturally bump up against the barriers and the resistances that have kept us smaller than we are. So as we expand, so you start listening to this, and then you let yourself expand with it, and then suddenly you get resistance. It's not working. Nobody's coming to my events. They're saying I'm doing the wrong things. And then the tendency is to go back into hiding. I've done a lot of that. I've also done a lot of going with it to a certain point, and then nothing happens, and then I would shrink back. Probably not all the way in, but definitely a substantial amount of shrinking. And then it doesn't feel good. It's like, because the whispers are still here. The flow is still there, you know. I'm like, no, no, no. And the resistance can get really strong because the flow is getting stronger and stronger. So it takes more to hold ourselves back and find reasons why we shouldn't do it. But then when that gets too uncomfortable, then we say, well, okay, then. Okay, okay. And then we let it go again. And you know, over time we do meet more synchronicities and things that tell us like, yeah, this is the right thing for me. But it doesn't always happen overnight. For most people, it doesn't. For some people, it does. But if you're not one of those, don't worry. Just stay with your process. Keep listening to the whispers. And of course, I always offer reach out. You can always join my monthly online gathering, first Tuesday of the month. And I really invite you to join if you feel this resonates with you. Or if you're not sure, you have doubts, and you know, you kind of, then reach out and set up a discovery session with me. It's like 20 or 30 minutes. I do it for free, but just so we can connect and see, you know, can I support you in your process? Can I support you and keep expanding and help dissolve this resistance? And that's, of course, my special sauce is self-love. That's a very good solvent to dissolve the barriers, the resistances, the fears, the holding back. We bring love to it, and then it softens, and then we can expand more. And you know, truth be told, again, from my own experience, from talking to friends, from seeing clients, there's so many deep layers of resistance, of contraction in all of us. And it does sometimes feel like it's endless. It's because there are so many. And when we finally expand and then suddenly we run into the next, and it's like, oh my God, I thought I already dealt with that. And I think it's frustrating. I'm right there with you. But then you just come to a new layer of contraction, of misidentification, of programming from the matrix. That's kind of where it all lands in my experience. And it's not just going to give up because you expand once. There's so much more. I mean, we've done this for I don't know how many lifetimes, as far as we believe in lifetimes. But in this experience, the 3D experience, there are such things as lifetimes. And every single experience we have is in our field. And that's when what we bring into the next life experience. So here we are. My invitation for you today is to really pay attention to these divine whispers. Get to know them. Learn what they want. Learn what this expansion, this whisper, this flow, feel into it. And let yourself be really honest and true with yourself. It might feel really scary when you really listen. You go like, ooh, that means I need to change something. Like, yeah, yeah. You may have heard that saying, like, the price for becoming a future self is to let go of the past, of the old self. If you want to be new, you cannot bring the old with you. So there is a huge transformation in store for all of us. Many of us are in the middle of it. It can be intense at times, but do it. Do it anyway. There is really no other way around it. You cannot avoid letting go of the old if you want to become new. And if we want a new earth experience, the new paradigm, we cannot bring in the old. So the guidance is your divine whispers, your inner flow, your deeper longing, which I talk about, which I think is such a precious, precious gift that we have been given. This deeper longing for something better, bigger, more beautiful, more peaceful. That longing to me is the whisper.